she manages the metalsmithing and enameling studio of the glass furnace there, as well as teaches here in UNT and CVAD. So please join me in welcoming her.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Like James said, I'm from Istanbul, Turkey. I was born and raised in Istanbul. It's a giant city. And these are my parents. When I was little, I was horrible. I was drawing everywhere in the house. Like, you can see these little drawings, like even in the refrigerator. My mother's phone books, like to disturb my sister in her, school notebooks, everywhere, like draw doodles and stuff. And my parents were not angry with that. They always supported me, and they always said, like, I think she will study arts. So like this continued like this, and until university I continued. I still do actually. This is inside of my sister's refrigerator. I just did it last year. So I still do this. But then I started my formal art education in 1991 in Mimar Sinan Fine Arts University in Istanbul, Turkey. I started studying textile and fashion design. I realized I like drawing details a lot. So, in textile we had 3 different majors, like printing, like you design patterns basically. And then the other is like fashion, which I have nothing to do with it. Like, I don't even understand it. And the other is like weaving, which it was fun, but it was more like engineering. So I said, let me stick with, pattern designing. These are like, let's say like 6 by 10 inches, watercolor, but these are all for textile designs. This is actually for weaving. These are like my old works. So those times, my whole time was like I was spending my time with color and like patterns. And then this is my final year. This is my friend. So she's wearing modeling for my final project. This was like you had to design a pattern and then silk print it and then make it into something. So I said, like, what should I do? I was interested in like old Turkish motifs. So I was using motifs to create these patterns. So I said, like, for my final project, let me do it, like make it into a kaftan, like sultans wear, Ottoman Empire times. I was inspired by that. So like school finished that year, 1996. And until 2001, I worked in a lot of textile-related works. Like we also had to do internships. So I worked with a fashion designer, and I was like, this is not my world. Like everyday cameras come. Oh, it was horrible. And I am not good at dressing nice. I am bad. Like I don't understand it. So I said, I hated it. And then I worked in a weaving factory. It was like a worker, it's not a place for an artist. You go there, work starts 7:30 in the morning. You basically design some pattern and then like machines do it. You're like, so this is not me. And then I started, designing my t-shirts and selling. But then later I said, okay, I realized textile is not my thing. I love to draw, but I have to work in the studio alone and make by hand. So I came here and started studying like metalsmithing and jewelry, which is the best thing in the world, I think, for me. I don't know about you, but it's the best thing. So I started in 2001, and it's a 3-year program. But since I was coming from textiles, they said, okay, you have to take leveling classes because you don't know any technique, like how to solder, how to cut. I didn't even touch metal before. So 1 year I took leveling classes and I was so happy. So I was in the studio like 7 days a week, and everyone was thinking I worked there. I was just trying to learn. So I realized like one of the first techniques I learned is like using saw blade, like piercing. These are all like really pierced like crazy. They gave me some names, like one of them was Blade, my name was Blade. And then they thought of like vampires, so they changed it. Piercing Queen, things like that they called me. And I continued to use the same motifs I used in my textile work. You know how I like to draw them? I said, oh, I can draw them on metal and then I can cut them. So it continued like that in my grad school studies. This is silver and this is a bangle bracelet. It's like this big and all pierced like crazy. But I loved doing it. It was not boring or anything. Some people said like, oh, how do you do that? Are you crazy? Yes, I love it. I am crazy. And then it continued like this. These are coasters. You know, in grad school, we have to have different projects, and which is wonderful. It helps you find what you really love. These are like coasters, silver, so you should not put something like this on it. I mean, you can, but it's for a nice wine or something. Anyway, so I never use them. Then I said, okay, I like little containers. I like pocket watches. You know, when I was little, I opened like pocket watches. What's inside? I break them and everything. So I said, okay, I should make like little containers. And then my professor said like, oh, you should make them into wearables. Like people love to carry lockets. And then I said yes, because it's kind of like secret or like it's personal to the for the wearer. So I started these, and when you open it, I still put this Turkish motif in it, and then I added color. In this one, this is silver. I added color with polymer clay. That time I was playing a lot. And this continued like that, another locket, and this is front, this is the back. So I pierce and then fill the areas with clay, colored clay. And then I moved on to different materials. This is another locket, and you open, and there's this time I started carving plastics. It's like, you know, how should I get color, and like different materials I started playing with. So this was, and then I added stories. Like this locket has our professor Harlem Butt. He asked us to write haiku in each class, and I was, oh, I don't know how to write. But then I started writing things. This one starts from here. The tree she planted today gave the first lemon without her presence. It's some tree, lemon tree, and it grows. That's why the flower in it is yellow. So it goes like that. And then another story, and like I combined with the Turkish motifs. Like this one is like an old 16th century textile motif. And then one day I saw my cousin like making this lace little, what is this, doily or lace? I said, oh, it's awesome. Like it looks like my motifs. It looks like snowflake. Then I made up this, this sultan, you know, like in fairy tales, says like, who can express the beauty of the winter snow, and someone like me makes a locket and brings to Sultan, and he says, oh, it's awesome. So this was the story I made up for this. So like these lockets go like stories like this. And this one is, even though it's like a flower motif, but it looks like scorpion, I say, okay, whatever you see. And this is the same, silver and polymer clay. And then grad school finished in 2005. And I returned to my country, Istanbul. I was very homesick. And I started teaching in a school, a private glass art school. And I started teaching there basic metalsmithing and enameling. And also in my own university, Mimar Sinan University, I started teaching, drawing for jewelry making. Like rendering, yeah. And then this is like the studio I teach in Istanbul. I still teach there since 2006, but since now half-time I'm here, half-time I'm there, yeah, I don't teach full-time right now. So let me tell you a little about enamel. Enamel is like basically glass powder on metal. We use copper or silver or gold, but in school, of course, we use copper since it's cheaper. Basically, what we do, we put powdered glass on the metal and then fire in kilns for like, let's say 1 minute or so in 1350 or 1500 Fahrenheit. And then it's super fast, not like ceramics. Like you don't wait for days, it cools down very fast. So I started teaching this technique. And these are some students from school. You can see we really have fun, like, because metalsmithing is fun. These are some of my student works. They love to use colors a lot. They start with basic shapes like round or square. And you don't need to know a lot of metalsmithing, but if you do, you can make better stuff with enameling. And these are like advanced students over there using different techniques. Like now they can cut the metal into whatever shape they want and use different colors, transparent or opaque enamels. And also they don't have to use enamel all the time. They work with metal. We teach them how to do basic metalsmithing. And at the end, like they either make jewelry or like, as you can see, this wall clock, like all kinds of functional or like non-functional fun things they create. And then while I was teaching, I was also still doing actually exhibitions. I first started, of course, doing solo exhibitions and I continue enameling. Like I can divide my work into two categories. One is like super colorful. These enamels, these are like all, you see some of them are opaque, some of them transparent. Like these are all the color of the glass. You just put it on it and in the kiln and there you go. And then it's like, I realize like exhibitions shape you a little bit. People come to you and say like, oh, if you can do this, like make this into a brooch for me or a necklace for me or a belt buckle, that will be nice. I would buy it then. I say, okay, why not? Because I can do any kinds of object like belt buckle or bowl, like in this case. So this is like a group works here. You see most of them are brooches, some are pendants, and two of them are belt buckles. So I continue to do solo shows every year. Like this one was a brooch, it's stolen, so it's a sad story, but it's also a good story because they loved it so much. I don't know whoever have this. I keep putting this everywhere, so if someone finds it, they will return it to me. Okay, so more enamel work, and this one like necklace, as you can see. I used in this one copper and silver and overglaze enamels. What is overglaze? It's like you do a base coat of enamel. Enamel is not like, you know, paint, like gouache, you mix colors. Let's say red and yellow, you mix it, you have orange. Enamel is not like that. You have to put layers and layers, but each time you have to fire it. So to finish this piece, maybe I fired like 10 times or so. But I put the jump rings later because if you put them in the kiln, they melt. Yeah. Sometimes I do this kind of work. Again, piercing. I like piercing a lot. This is a necklace. Like there's a green enamel, and then I riveted silver on it. And then I went back to lockets again because I love to make lockets. It's fun. This work has a story. The story is like, in Istanbul, it's like 20 million people live there. They keep building ugly buildings, like concrete all. And then they keep cutting trees. This makes me very angry. So I got this piece of silver. I hammered like crazy, like very badly. No intention. I just damaged it. And then I cut cracks you see with saw blade. And then I pierced the poor last trees stuck in the city between concrete buildings and on it, and you can see, you can open inside, and the lock area has one little leaf left. So this is the last tree in Istanbul. It's a sad but funny one. And then I continued doing lockets. No, these are not lockets, sorry. Trees, and like these are all pendants and different techniques. Like the top ones are enamel, and the bottom ones are copper and pierced again. And you see, I have to put piercing somewhere. And these are enamel too. The one on the left is copper, and then overglaze technique, which is like painting with enamels. Since I can't mix colors, I fire this like over copper, and then I draw with overglaze enamels, and then fire it again. And this is another work related to trees, but these are all pendants. And enamels again, these are all pendants, like overglaze enamels. Sometimes I use gold foil, you can see. And sometimes, not a lot, I use found objects. One day, a lady came, like very old lady, said like, I have this 100-year-old lace. Would you make a piece for me with it? I said, okay, yeah, I'd love to. So I made this blue enamel, and then I put the lace on top, and to protect it, I put a watch glass over it, and a silver bezel holds it. So this is a brooch, and so she liked it a lot. I was happy with it. So sometimes I do commission works too. Like I usually don't like what people tell me what I do, because I don't like that. I don't do it, but. It's true. If they say to me like, do this for me, then I say, go to like a jewelry store. They will do it for you, like it or not, you know. But she said like, I like your style. Do whatever you want. So I was free. And this one is another brooch. Like the theme was like from trees, it started going into leaves. And buckles, like belts, this was really fun. Like I get a lot of commissions still that. But like I say, people don't tell me what to do. They say, make something, we'll get it. I say, okay. So these are like old, again, like 16th century motifs. But I changed them a lot by like using, you know, riveting to each other, like using copper and silver together. And this is another one, like the silver part is, the motif part is silver, and the rest is brass. And this is all just textures of textured, I like textures too sometimes. All silver pieces I riveted to each other. And this is enamel again, like I said, overglaze on enamel, and then I like bezel set on a piece of brass, another textured one. And then people were asking me, mostly my American friends, like, hey, there are these Turkish traditional jewelry, they're nice, can you show us? I'm like, I don't know them, because I studied in US, so I didn't know any of this, so I decided to take classes. I said, if I'm Turkish, I should know this. So this was very interesting. The one picture you see on the left, it's left? Yeah. It's, what should I say? Wire, but it's super thin wire, like almost hair thin, silver wire, wrapped on a nylon string. So you cannot use fire with this. You just need to braid it. So like the results are, we had a lot of long discussions with my teacher. She taught us very basic, like very traditional, you see in this picture, designs. But then I said like, these are Celtic design. She's like, no, these are Turkish designs. So I don't know really. Then I said, okay, I have to do a research, like instead of fighting with the teacher. So then I started doing a little research. It's like they moved a lot. like from Scotland to Turkey, they moved. So it's nobody can say like this is this country's thing. So I can't say it's tradition Turkish, but they call it tradition Turkish. So with this technique, I said like, where can I use this? So I used this like a bezel setting for one of my enamels. And then you can really make braiding, like these are all silver, braiding bracelets or rings, these are rings. But the problem is this is so weird technique, and I'm so used to working with sheet metal. If I don't play with this, let's say 2 weeks, then I don't remember how to do it. Like students ask me, they say, show me how to do it. I don't remember. So you have to practice a lot. And we made in class so little, because this wire comes in like 4 different thickness. As you can see, I put the ruler when I take the picture. We use needles, like really stitching. You put this wire through needles and like you go crazy. It's really, I will never make these again. I swear. They sell these in Turkey. Why would I waste time? And honestly, I don't remember how we did them. Big ones I remember, but these like, I don't know. So like these big ones I can do. But that time, like I really enjoyed it. And I'm still thinking to combine these with metals or like enamels. Oh, who is this? So in 2012, James and I, my husband, you know, we said like, why don't we collaborate? Because his works are so different than mine. Like, let's collaborate. And so we started UJ Design Studios and like started creating work together. And first, like, we said, he said, you do enamels, nice enamel, colorful, and I do terminite, which are colorful. Let's combine. Let's use them. This is our website. Let's use them as frames of the enamels, or sometimes I make the frame out of silver or copper, and he makes the terminite as like cabochon in it. This one, for instance, I made it, and he made the terminite piece in it. This is a brooch. And then this one is, you see the center is enamel, glass on copper. And the frame he did, like terminite, he used late. Did he use late for this? No, that's hand carved. Oh, this is hand carved, sorry. The round ones are late, okay. And this one round, like he used maps. And I thought like, we both thought like, my enamel color is so similar to this terminite. So we use this. This is another brooch we did together. And then I use this, the old motifs I use. I never get tired of them. And then I enamel, and he made the frame. It's a pendant. And then we have a studio apartment in Istanbul too, where we spent half of our year over there. And we do like little exhibitions there, like pop-up exhibitions with our friends. And we like to make different designs. So these are like for Christmas time, we made ornaments. We made the drawings, and they are still actually, we didn't hand cut them, laser cut, and then powder coat. So it was a fun project. I can't say this is really artsy, but it's fun. So we like to do fun stuff too. And then you see, this one became head thing. So you're like, what else I can do with this? So he made the wood parts on the lathe, he turned. Okay, these are also my pierced motifs again with his terminite pieces. And we like them a lot, and people like them because it's fun and like nice collaboration. So it's like collaboration idea started forming with James and I, and we started giving workshops together. This was one of the workshops. He did pressed copper pieces, he taught, and then I taught students like how to enamel them, and the result was so much fun, nice stuff. And then we said, like, why not an exhibition? And I photobombed this. He was taking a serious one. I swear it's photobomb. So Radford University invited us for a very nice exhibition. It was very nice school. So I photobombed everywhere. So it was nice, and we did a workshop there too. And then we said, why not more collaboration? And then we have, great artist friends. And you see, Nur. Oh, you don't know. I'm sorry. It was the last class. Nur is our painting, drawing friend. She's here right now. And the other friend, Ayşegül, she makes jewelry too, but all her work is like wax. She carves out of wax, and she casts them. So it's so different than mine or James's. So we said, oh, why don't we collaborate? We might have awesome things. And then we did. Like this pendant, it looks like one person made it. Well, actually 4 persons made this one. So first James made this terminite, and then Nur took it and she made drawings on it. And then I took it and I made this silver frame, like bezel set for it. And then we gave it to Ayşegül, and she made the glass beads and the chain part. So this collaboration works very interestingly. We all like each other's work, and we don't know what the next person will do. So like James finished the terminite and he gives to Nur, and he doesn't say anything to Nur. Like he doesn't say, oh, do this, do that. No. It's like Nur does whatever she wants. And then they give to me, and I do whatever I want. No one can say anything to me. No, I'm joking. Like we really like each other's work. And at the end, it's full of surprises. So we said, okay, we're gonna have our first exhibition. This is a place in Istanbul. We did our first show, and people liked it. We liked it. So we said, why not continue? So this is our friends, Nur's, like the painting, drawing friends, personal work. She does a lot of drawings, printmaking, collages, as you can see. So it's sometimes we take these and etch into metal, like on these silver pieces. We etched Nur's drawing, or like we put them in resin, you see in the back, to make either pendants or like bracelets, pins. And sometimes we etched it on silver. I enameled on it, and then James made the terminite frame for it. And same thing again here. This is the only difference is different terminite, and I etched this on copper and then enameled over it. These both are brooches. And then let's talk about your professor, James. He created terminite. It's like paper resin combination. He uses bio-resin, eco-resin. So it's like very environmentally safe, or let's say like very recycle good material. So he glues these papers one by one. Like one day I tried to do it, I hated it. So but I wanted to learn it. He gives workshops. Some people like it, some people like me, like, so same thing. So he does that. Sometimes I help carve, like shape, but he does it mostly. And I continue my thing, and sometimes I use terminite in my works too. Like this one, for instance, I carved. It's so different than his work, you see? And then the rest of the necklace, 2 other friends like Ayşegül and Nur. No, Nur didn't do this. James did it, okay. Sometimes we do collaborate, 4 of us, sometimes 3 of us, sometimes 2 of us, like it goes like that. This is the friend I talked about. She does casting a lot. She owns her shop in Istanbul. It's a very nice shop. Like, she makes her own like jewelry there, and then cast and sells in her shop. And then we started, like, of course, when we collaborate with her, since her work is all metal, like in this locket, we talked about birds of Istanbul, and also our friend Nur was like doing a lot of drawings about the birds of Istanbul. So we said like, let's make a work together. And this locket I made. And then the little birds in it, she cast them. They're out of silver. And this is our collaboration. So collaboration is like so much fun, and I think we will continue for a long time. And we have this exhibition opening up this Friday on UNT on the Square, 5:30 p.m. If you can come by, it will be wonderful. It will be on for a month until April 8th. That's it from me. So, if you have any questions, I would love to answer your questions. Any questions? They understand everything. Awesome. If you want, you have a question?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Were you nervous when you changed from fabrics to metal?
No, actually, I was just curious because I was not nervous because my professor said like this year, 1 year, will show us like if you can do this. Because they said I have to take leveling classes, which I did. I tried if I'm good at metals. And then it was like a trial that year. At the end of the year, they liked me, I liked them, metals liked. So I continued. So I was not nervous. I think it's good to change because now I use both of them. It's like having two majors. It's, you know, you look wider and like you can use more materials in your work. That's a good thing. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah.
How long does it usually take?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
How long does it usually take for you to finish like a locket?
A locket. Locket usually take like 2 to 3 weeks. But if I work, let's say, like 2-3 hours a day, it's long. But if I sometimes sit like all day long, I play in the studio, then it's less time. It depends on the detail of the lockets. Like sometimes, I don't know why, like I'm not in the mood. That day, I make horrible work. I say, okay, I should not be in the studio today. And so that's why it takes some time. Okay. Sorry, you had a question.
Is there like a way to be like working in textiles but not like in a factory, like you said? Because I'm interested in like fibers as well. So I was just wondering.
In textile factory, you mean?
Yeah, like you mentioned that you didn't like working in the factory.
Yeah, because
Or like jobs that, you know.
it's like a business, not like a business, it's a business. So you design something, but mostly in weaving, actually, there are some technical problems. It's like engineering. Some of the design you do, and it's not weavable. They say, this won't work. You're like, well. So, and then a lot of steps of technical with machines. So it's not so artistic for me. I didn't like it.
Are there jobs for individuals too? She's wondering.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, but yes, there are, but you know, you can't make a living. Sorry, like, yeah, you can have your, I don't know, you have to be very famous. Otherwise, you can't live like that. Okay, someone else. Okay, then, thank you.